People say Pathfinder is a very hard game, but there are a lot of online tools to make it really easy to learn and then run. Because after you get over the initial learning curve of the game, it becomes very easy. So I hope this video will be one step of the process to getting over that initial bump and getting to play the game. And so in this video, I have 5 major tools to show off, and then one bonus at the end. So with that, let's just get into it. And so our first tool here is the good old Archives of Nethys, and you can see that the site logo is up here. I'm going to first show you that you can indeed change the theme of it over here. Ronald the Rules Lawyer will have a big video on Archives of Nethys coming out on the same day this video comes out. So if you want to know more details about this site, go ahead and watch that one. And he'll go over how to use the search features, how to do all that. I generally just want to show you something I think is cool. Where under Rules, you can go here to GM screen. And it'll just have a bunch of different drop-downs that are basically rules reminders for everything that you'd want to do. So if I'm like, ooh, I don't remember what the DC by level was for this level. I'm go, okay, so my party's level 7. Okay, DC 23. And you can just quickly have all the information you need right here. Ooh, how did I make encounter budgets again? Oh, right. Yeah. And then you can just look it up. What skills could they use to identify this thing? Let's see here, based on its traits. Okay, there we go. And you can then just move on. It'll give you basically all the quick reference stuff you'd need in order to keep a game moving, just from this page. And Ron's, of course, going to go over how to search creatures, because this has, like, all the rules on it. It does not have all of the NPCs, though. If you want to have all of the NPCs, I'd recommend going to PF2e. You can find that online as well. They actually do have way more of the NPCs in the game. So, yeah. Archives of Nethys, great for looking up the rules. Great for going, ooh, what does this thing do? You can always just look it up. So next up, we are going to have Path Builder. For this, I'm actually going to go ahead and disable my webcam, because you're going to want to have the entire screen visible for this. And that's because this website has a lot of buttons on it. And it's basically a character builder / character sheet. And so I can go into a new character, and it then gives you all these different options here. I'm going to just click Get Started. And if you have a premium account, you can even share copy your character, just like through link. You can export different file types to have it as a reference document. Or you can go into character options and have actually advanced options where you can import different variant rules. So you can add dual class, free archetype, etc. And that's the menu where you can do that. And the reason I like it is it has all of the rules, and it's all like sorted out pretty nicely. So if you want to just like try building characters and make sure all your math is correct, you can build them here in Path Builder with whatever variant rules you have and use that as a level up plan. And in my in-person game, we even use Path Builder as like our character sheet because it has the ability to adjust your HP up here. And we can just put in all of our gear and have all of our numbers displayed very nicely. All the spells can then drop down to give us the full description. All very, very nice. So, Path Builder definitely on my list of things to be aware of. It automatically tracks prerequisites, automatically tracks all the rules. It's very nice. My critique of it is it can be very difficult to find where items are listed because it may not be intuitive what is considered a weapon, what is considered under the defense tab, what is under gear, because it's all kind of mixed up in that way. But generally, it's all pretty intuitive to use. After you realize menu, character options, scroll down, advanced options, that's how you get to the variant rules. That is basically Path Builder. And for those of you that have been following the channel for a while, this website will also look familiar. And this is the monster.pf2e-tools. And it is basically just something that helps you track all the rules for building custom creatures, lets you put in level, lets you apply base roadmaps, and gives you little bits of reminder text based on the traits or other things that you're doing. So it gives you recommendations on how to set things. You can then adjust them yourself. And it then generates this really nice stat block over here that you can then export as a link, export as PDF, export as whatever. And then you just have your creature right here that you can then use however you want. And I'm going to adjust the web page a little bit that way so you can read all of it. And bang, there you go. It's just a really nice tool for if you end up making custom creatures. If you are a game master, this is a website I would definitely bookmark. monster.pf2e Tools. And if you want more assistance in how do I build a custom creature, I just happen to have an hour-long guide on it on my channel that uses this exact website and shows where the rules on Archives of Nethys, shows the types of decisions you'd want to make while building a creature in this game. So if you're new, go check out that video if you want to learn how to make custom monsters. And this is actually a tool that Ronald the Rules Layer made, and I asked for permission to be able to share it, and he said, yeah, sure, go for it. So here it is. And basically the idea is you'd make a copy of this Google Doc that I'm going to have in the description down below, and you change its sharing permissions. That way anybody you share it with can edit it, and you send it to all your players, and you say, hey, can you fill this out, replace the player at top with your name, and then fill in the rest of the character information as you go down. Easy. And then you can just quickly reference what they're doing and have it all in one sheet for you. So if you don't want to do the Path Builder approach where everybody gets Path Builder Premium and then sends you a character build and all that stuff, you can have them fill out a sheet similar to this one. Again, this will be in the description down below, but this can be a helpful thing if you are just trying to plan who's doing what in a session 0, because it's very easy for the players to see what skills are covered, what skills are not covered, what should I be doing, etc., etc. I really like things like this because they're simple. They don't require any additional training really to use. You just fill in the information, and it's a nice reference sheet. And now we have the tool that causes all of the Reddit arguments, the DPR Calculator, which lets you decide if somebody is off guard or not, which lets you determine what class is doing the attack, it lets you determine everything else about it. And so I'm going to quickly show you how to use this tool, but I do want to put a big asterisk here that DPR is not the same as being a good character, okay? Even from an optimization perspective, even from an optimizing for damage perspective, DPR is just a stand-in for time to kill. Time to kill is a measure you care about. DPR is just a stand-in in a lot of ways, but not exactly. I'll have a video going over that in more detail. Don't treat DPR as the end-all be-all of stuff. You can just use this to vaguely see where your character lands relative to other builds in terms of damage output. And so, if I were to want to see how something compares to a fighter swinging a D12 weapon once, I'd click Create New Routine. And I would then say that, hey, it is going to be a strike. It is going to be from, let's say, a monk doing a flurry of blows. They're going to be doing D8 agiles because they have a stance that lets them do D8 agiles. I'm going to move my webcam over here. I'm not going to bother doing critical specialization. And I'm going to say they make 2 attacks. Create new activity. You see there's a monk doing flurry of blows. If I get rid of the rogue, you can see that the monk is doing slightly better than the fighter, and that difference becomes more noticeable at higher levels. And if I have the monk be a baseline, you can see fighter spikes up at level 7 and 4. That makes sense to me because 4 is when you get a big flat bonus to your damage. That scales with damage dice, D12, sure. And you just kind of see how the damage performs relative to other things. Include a baseline so that way you can see it's not actually that big of a deal. And the thing about this tool is you realize, oh wait, when people build for damage, they tend to all be doing similar amounts of damage. And that's the big takeaway here. Monks are not as offensive as a class, so if I expand this test out to this fighter continues their attack to get another strike. And I have the monk also get another strike. You can see now the fighter's taking the lead, again, by like 10-15%. Not a big deal, and I think that's really the use case of the site. You can change the level of the enemies, you can change the AC of the enemies, blah, blah, blah. But I think the use case of this site is showing damage builds don't actually do that much more or less damage relative to each other. So if you get into an internet argument about damage and you know how to use this tool, you can just pull it out, take a screenshot, send it to them, and say, look, it doesn't matter that much. And I have yet to see a conclusion that can be drawn from this that isn't like, this one is 10% better at DPR, and then you boil it down to, but does it really matter? So, and now, for the final tool, I want to highlight the Pathfinder 2e subreddit and the adjacent communities around this game, because people are generally pretty helpful. And you might get one abrasive butthead in the comments, but generally, a lot of the interactions when people ask for help is something like this needing help finding units thing, where, hello everyone, I'm a new GM, my player's level 3, naval campaign, about to raid a noble's tower, it's a settlement, low magic setting, anyone have good suggestions for enemies? And top comment is, try taking a look at this, and then, thanks. And you can see here, and exclude unique, and that's just all the NPCs on Archives and Nethys, and that's the general suggestion. Like, when you're on the Pathfinder sub and you ask a question, you usually get a pretty good answer relatively quickly. Like, they posted this under half an hour ago, and so like they got this comment in about 15 minutes. They got somebody that responded and said, hey, here's a link to something that will probably help you. And this is the common interaction on the subreddit. Now, if you go to what things are on hot or trending, you're going to see larger discussion things about like game design as a whole, where if you start by new, you basically entirely see people asking for advice, suggestions, etc., and getting a lot of people debating in the comments and usually being polite about it. I'm not going to say always, but usually people are pretty nice about it. And if asking on the subreddit is a bit too much of a step for you, join my Discord, join Ronald the Rose Lawyer's Discord. We don't bite. We have moderation powers to make sure others don't bite as well. So the community really is one of the best tools when it comes to this game. And I think asking around is one of the best ways to really know if you're missing anything. So, I hope this video was helpful for those of you that are just starting out. I'm going to go back to just my face cam. And I hope you all have a good one. I'm going to start fading to black. There should be videos popping up around me now. Go ahead and click on one of them. I think I'll make one of them the hour-long guide to making creatures. Yeah, I'll probably do that.